Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Manny Rodriguez. Thank you for joining me today. In today's episode, we're discussing the new case that is currently ongoing about the homeless woman who boasted about selling body parts, and now she is charged for the murder of a 12-year-old girl who went missing Friday, October 14th. Let's go ahead and dive into that story, why don't we? A homeless woman who boasted about selling body parts has been charged with the murder, rape, and torture of a 12-year-old girl whose throat was slit before her mutilated body was stuffed in a suitcase in Paris. Dahbia B, as seen on your screen, a 24-year-old homeless woman originally from Algeria with extreme psychological problems, was indicted over the gruesome killing of Lola Daviet on Friday, October 14, 2022, as she appeared before examining magistrates. The schoolgirl was found tied up inside the plastic suitcase near her home with the numbers 1 and 0 imprinted on her chest, and then left in the inner courtyard of a building in the French capital's northeast. And this is what makes it so heartbreaking. She's such a young girl. Somehow, this homeless woman, gained her trust. CCTV footage had emerged showing the alleged killer and her victim next to next to the block of flats where Lola lived with her middle-class parents who owned properties across northern France. Now, Lola's mutilated body was later found near the building in the city's 19th arrondissement where she lived with her parents, Delphine and Johann. And Delphine and Johann, they're right here. They are heartbroken parents. They do not understand how this could have possibly happened. And that's what makes these type of cases so sad. It should have never happened. It should have never happened. But we do know people are evil. And so now we wait to see, will she admit to all of this? Well, let's continue into this story. The suspect had boasted about selling body parts, according to an investigating source. Evidence suggests that the girl was taken into the basement of the flat where she was tortured and raped before being strangled and having her throat cut. Now, the source added the suspect is believed to suffer with serious psychological problems. She was living on the street but had friends and family in the Paris area. And so people knew her. Her sister actually lived in this flat. Now, a flat is like a room. A flat is a little bit different than an apartment. A flat can basically be like a little room in an apartment for the most part, and that's what they are called in the London area, the Paris area, and places like that. But a judicial source confirmed Dahbia B was in custody charged with the murder of a child under 15, rape, and torture. Now, Lola was a student at the Georges Brazen School just yards from her home. And this is the scene of the school, and this is more of a close up of the school. The victim was discovered with her feet and wrist bound, tape around her face, and several cuts to her throat just hours after she was reported missing by her parents when she failed to return after class. What's odd is she had numbers placed on her body by a device rather than cut into her skin, according to a police source cited by French broadcaster BFM TV. Now, a post-mortem examination on Saturday, October 15th, concluded that she had died of asphyxiation following a physical attack that included a knife being used to cut her body. And as I showed you earlier, that footage, that the footage is actually her dad who found it. And he was wondering, like, did my daughter come home? What's going on? And so since he manages these flats, he went to look for the security footage, and then he notices this stranger with his daughter. And that's how this security camera footage had emerged, which showed that the girl, dressed in a white outfit and carrying what appears to be a school bag, walking into her building behind a woman who witnesses claimed was later seen carrying the suitcase. Now, one resident said he saw the suspect dragging the suitcase around 2 hours prior to Lola's disappearance. And he says, we saw her go into the building and she was dragging the suitcase with her. He said, she did not seem right in the mind, which is a lot of people sharing that she did not seem like she was all there. And if you're capable of doing this, yeah, you're right. You're probably not all there. And we all know that mental health, mental illness is a serious thing. Mental health is a serious thing. Now, others saw the suspect drinking a coffee and eating a croissant as she appeared to try and work out what to do next. Again, she was homeless, staying in people's places. And so, now police Police told French media they had uncovered signs of kidnapping in the basement of the building and launched a murder inquiry. Now, the schoolgirl's face was covered in tape, her feet and fists were bound, and she had suffered several cuts to her throat, according to these reports. And the victim's mother went to the police at 5 p.m. on that Friday, October 14th evening, when she became worried that her daughter had not returned home, and she posted a desperate appeal for help on social media. Now, the mom, Mrs. Daviet, she posted an image of Lola accompanied by the following message. Our daughter Lola was last seen at 3:20 p.m. in the company of a woman we do not know in our residence. The footage from the entrance of the building the footage from the entrance of the building, it only captured Lola following her suspected killer into the block. And that's that footage that I showed you earlier, who we don't know how she coerced her to go with her. And so that's the suspected killer who was in the block. Less than 6 hours later, a homeless man contacted the police after he allegedly stumbled upon the suitcase and discovered the body inside at around 11:30 p.m. on Rue de Hautpoul, which is a stone's throw away from the victim's home. And so this all happened very close to the school, literally very close to the school that she attended. And this is the street that the homeless man found the suitcase when he discovered the body inside it around 11:30, right here on this road. And this is a Google picture. This is very close to where they live. And so the public prosecutor confirmed to BFM TV that signs of a struggle had been discovered in one of the basement rooms in Lola's building. Now, Parisian officials indicated that staff and students of the Georges Brazen School, as well as neighboring schools in the area, would receive psychological support. And Paris investigators, they are probing whether the homeless woman charged with the horrific torture, rape, and murder of the 12-year-old Lola in Paris may have killed her by mistake after confusing the girl for her mother. Now, Dahbia B, an Algerian national who arrived in France in 2016 on a student resident permit, was indicted after the body of Lola Daviet was found stuffed in a suitcase with a slit to her throat, signs of torture and sexual violence, and the letters 1 and 0 imprinted on her corpse. Now, we still don't know any motive. No official motive has been given for the shocking killing, and prosecutors said the suspect, who is only 24 years old, she has serious psychological problems, according to the investigators. And she made varying statements, switching between admitting and denying the facts of the case. So that's like she's sharing some, but then she's saying no. She's going back and forth. And you can see flowers that were left outside of where her body was found. And one possible theory is an apparent argument between Dahbia B and Lola's parents, Delphine and Johan, over their apartment block. You see, the suspect had tried to move in with her sister in the same building the middle class Daviet family live in and are custodians for, but Delphine refused to give the homeless woman an access pass. And so they believe that maybe the homeless woman was upset about this. So investigators believe that the killing could have been an act of revenge, with the attacker even confusing the 12-year-old girl for her mother. France Bleu reported this. Now, prosecutors said Dahbia B had brought Lola to her sister's apartment where she forced her to take a shower, then committed harm of a sexual nature and other violent acts against Lola that caused her death, and hid her body in the trunk. Now, when the suspect, who she has no criminal record but was the victim of domestic violence herself in 2018, when she was shown photographs of Lola's body, she allegedly replied, "It does not make me hot or cold. I too was raped and saw my parents die in front of me." Now, Dahbia B, she did arrive legally, as I mentioned, on a student pass here, but she was notified with the obligation to leave French territory in August after failing to produce a valid residence permit. She was arrested at an airport on August 21st, but police, they had no further dealings with them until Friday's killing. And on Friday night, after the body was discovered, 3 people were arrested near the scene. Then a woman who was spotted on CCTV with the schoolgirl hours before her death was also held. And 2 others were also arrested, and all are originally from Algeria, Le Parisien said. Of the 6 initially arrested, which included Dahbia B's older sister, Freya B, 4 are now considered innocent of any wrongdoing. Now, one 43-year-old man who is known to the main suspect, Dahbia B, still faces charges over allegedly making a car available to the suspect over the weekend. Now it is thought the alleged killer acted alone and gratuitously in allegedly carrying out the murder, according to judicial sources. Now, Lola's parents, she had called police after Lola's mom basically had called police after their daughter did not return from middle school on Friday afternoon. And so the victim's mother, she went to the police at 5 p.m. that evening looking for her. And unfortunately, there was obviously no luck. And when she couldn't find her, she became very worried, and that's when she went to the police because her daughter had not returned home, and it was not like her daughter to do this. And so she posted that desperate appeal for help on social media. Mrs. Daviet, she posted an image of Lola accompanied by the following message about our daughter was last seen at 3:20 in the company of a woman we do not know in our residence. Now, her father is the custodian in the building, and he saw the unknown woman excuse me, enter the building in the Paris 19th district alongside his daughter when he checked the CCTV recordings. Now, witnesses later said they saw the woman dragging the suitcase, which was stained with blood and it smelled strongly of bleach, like she was trying to clean it. And an investigating source said the alleged murderer somehow earned her victim's confidence and led her into a cellar below the building where the attack happened. So it was, again, inside the building where she lived. The attacker had been talking about selling organs and body parts, but none of this makes sense. She acted alone and gratuitously and defiled her victim before killing her. Now, Lola's parents are professional caretakers of a number of buildings in northern Paris, including the one where they live. They also own two houses in the village. They also own two houses in the village of Foucault near Bethune, northern France, and a mobile holiday home in Rang du Flyers on the English Channel coast. Now, friends have set up a fundraiser for the grief-stricken family. Lola was a student at the Georges Brazen School just yards from her home. And as I shared with you, local residents placed flowers at the gate of the family's building over the weekend. An AFP reporter had saw that and took pictures. Now, one mother told the AFP news reports that her daughter, another student who knew Lola by sight, was not doing well. She doesn't want to go to school. And the mom says today it's time for mourning and for the investigation, which seems to be progressing quickly. And the 19th district mayor Francois Dagnod said during a visit to the Georges Brassen School, what's important is that the main suspect for now has been arrested. There's no psychopath roaming the streets of this neighborhood, he added after local parents reported fears for their children's safety. And he says, of course, the fact that a 12-year-old child can die in such circumstances is overwhelming for everybody, he added, saying that counseling would be offered to local residents. Now, a homeless man was the first to discover the body, which sources familiar with the investigation said was hidden under clothes in a plastic box in the building's courtyard. The victim was discovered with her feet and wrists bound, tape around her face, and several cuts to her throat, just hours after she was reported missing by her parents when she failed to return after class. Now, I don't understand why numbers were placed on her body by a device. Now, this was a device that put this on. I don't know what kind of device. This is still a developing story, but they didn't cut the numbers into her skin. It was a device that put this. Like, what could that mean? Again, this is a developing story, so we don't know 100% sure what that is. And this chilling security camera footage that emerged thanks to her dad doing his due diligence to see, did she enter this building? So we only wait to find out. Because everyone says she wasn't in the right mind. And others even saw her drinking a coffee and croissant as she appeared to try and work out what to do next. Again, she didn't get a pass to access pass to the building. She was upset. She was supposed to be staying with her sister, and it looks like she might have taken this little girl to the basement of her sister, which is why she was also arrested. And so these CCTV cameras helped track her movements from the building and the surrounding area, as well as using phone records and physical searches. Now, the 43-year-old man, also questioned in custody on Monday, October 17th, admitted that he brought the 24-year-old woman to his home with the trunk and two suitcases, where he said she stayed for 2 hours before leaving again in a chauffeur driven car he had called for her. And as they said, what's the most important is that the main suspect for now has been arrested. There's no psychopath roaming the streets. That's according to the mayor. And this is where it's like, what? Like, who's this guy and why did he offer any help to her? Did he know? Because allegedly he's still arrested. So did he know what he was participating in? And all of these people that were arrested were Algerian. So I don't know if it's a little community or they all traveled here together. Again, still a developing story. My friends, I'm Manny Rodriguez. I hope you got some value from this. And at the end of the day, my goal is to keep you updated on what could go crazy wrong in this world we live in. And if you got some value from that, I would appreciate it if you hit subscribe. And that means that, hey, this is the type of content you like to follow. And I appreciate that because, hey, I want to offer value. That is my complete goal in this. I want to offer value for you and keep you updated on what could go wrong in this crazy, crazy world we live in. And truth is, we all know this is a crazy world we live in. What we don't know is we still don't know why this stuff happens. Why does this happen? We will probably never know. And it's happened way before we were ever thought about even being in existence. Wouldn't you agree? This was way before our time. Way before our time, before we were even ever thought of being born. And so, my friends, thank you for joining me today. I'm Manny Rodriguez, and I look forward to serving you again. Peace. Have an amazing day, my friends. Be safe.